What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about boarding school in Britain. You know, I've actually heard of this word before, boarding school, but I'm not exactly sure what it means. So today, I'm very interested in learning about what the British boarding school experience is like by checking out this video by DW Euromax. So let's take a look. Oh my god.
Hi, my name is Max. Welcome to Shelburne School.
Oh my
Hogwarts School.
This place is beautiful. What the heck? Is that what makes it a boarding school? That it's freaking massive and beautiful?
Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry from the Harry Potter films seems to actually exist.
That's funny. Yeah. Like, joking aside, like, this actually does kind of remind me of Hogwarts from Harry Potter. It actually exists. Is that why? I mean, I have a lot of thoughts going on here. It's like Harry Potter, like, is British. And Hogwarts, you know, I always assumed it was this giant magical school. It's basically a castle. And it's like, okay, it's a work of fiction. Schools like that don't exist. But it's like, do they actually in Britain exist? Magical schools? You're learning magic. Magic exists. I thought it was all a movie. No, but obviously these big, fantastical, beautiful schools do exist.
Founded in 1550, Sherborne School in Dorset is one of the oldest boarding schools in Britain.
15? It's almost a 500-year-old school. Wow. I mean, that's, again, just because of the history of the United States, like how long we have existed as a country, we don't have cool stuff that's 500 years old. That's like American. Whereas, you know, Great Britain has all this awesome stuff that's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years old. That's really, really cool thing that Britain has that we just do not have here.
Currently, 602 boys between the ages of 13 and 18 study here, including Max Wyndham.
Wow.
It does sort of, I suppose, feel like Harry Potter because, you know, when you get off a train when you first arrive, you know, it's a train station and you're going to a boarding school.
You get off and arrive on a train. Geez, how far away is this from where they live? Or by train? Like, by train? Really? Like kids? That's kind of... Do they stay here? Is that what makes it a boarding school? Do they actually live here? Like Harry Potter? No, it's all starting to make sense to me. Like, right now. It's another thing with Harry Potter, not that boarding school has to relate in every way to Harry Potter, but I think it's a easy way for my American mind to understand through a children's work of fiction. And adults can enjoy it too. Especially if you grew up reading Harry Potter as a child and then, like I did, and then got older as the series progressed, but that's neither here nor there. In Harry Potter, they live at the school. Is that what boarding school is? You live at the school. You get on a train or whatever, arrive at this amazing giant school that's hundreds of years old, and you stay there. That's what boarding means, right? Like, okay, I think I got it.
Max Wyndham has been at Sherborne for 3 years. He has been attending boarding school since he was 8 years old.
Wow.
He stopped being homesick a long time ago.
Yeah. I really enjoy the sense of sort of more freedom than other schools because if you've got the Abbey and then you've got the town, which is right next door, so you can go and explore, walk up and down the high street, go shopping, and meet your friends.
This is amazing. This is incredible. Even the town that they're in, everything's beautiful. What a crazy experience. How common is this in Britain? I'm thinking maybe there's boarding schools in the United States. There has to be, like, some. I've heard the word before. But it's certainly not common at all. I've never even seen one before in real life. In Britain, how common is attending boarding school? Because that does seem a bit extreme to me. Maybe that's just because I'm an American, but this is abnormal. Like going and living at your school full time as a teenager growing up. That's quite a unique experience.
11th grader Max Wyndham has accommodation at the Green, one of the school's 8 boarding houses.
Wow.
He shares a room with 2 other boys and likes to read a bit before class.
Nice.
This is my bed, obviously, and I've got my CCF kit laid out because after lunch I do CCF.
CCF? This looks like camouflage. They're either going hunting or this has something to do with the military. Does boarding school have something to do with military?
And then my desk there with books and sort of my shoes and everything. I've got 2 other dorm buddies here. So there's Douglas Groves over here.
His roommate is just there while they were filming this. He's just there in bed.
George Gillespie. We get on quite well together, and we come to the dorm in the afternoon to sit down and do work, just homework basically.
Wow.
This morning begins with a history lesson, followed by French and religion. Quite a few famous people have attended this school. They're called Old Shiburnians. Amongst them is mathematician Alan Turing.
No kidding. Holy cow. So did they say this is an all-boys school? Only boys attend this. And you stay there all the time and just live this magical life.
Actors Jeremy Irons and Hugh Bonneville.
I don't know him.
The lead singer of Coldplay, Chris Martin.
Really?
Author John le Carré, and at some point, Max Wyndham.
Really? A lot of really notable people, British people, have gone to boarding school. This must be more common in Britain, by far. Like, because I don't know anybody in America. Like, I don't know everybody. I'll admit that. But I personally don't know anybody, not a soul, that has attended boarding school. That's why I didn't even know what it was.
I enjoy history because you learn about the past and it's all quite relevant to today, and especially stuff I think we just covered the Cold War parts of that, and it's all very interesting.
You know what? I don't know if it's the boarding school or if it's this young man's personality, but he seems so well-spoken, respectful, polite, intelligent. Maybe that's just accredited to him as an individual. Maybe it has to do with going to boarding school. It does seem like more of a disciplined regiment, having to live at school in such a manner, almost like take on more independence. You're not living with your parents and your family, and it certainly forces you to kind of, grow up a little quicker, like you're at university already or something.
11 a.m. is break time at the Green boarding house.
Oh my gosh, look at their outfits. They are in suits and ties. Oh my gosh.
Snacks are served, along with a chat with the matron of the house, who's always there for the boys and is also in charge of the household and laundry.
Huh.
This is followed by physics and then a well-being lesson, which deals with the social, psychological, and emotional well-being of the students.
Interesting. So they attend all these classes. They must become a very, very tight-knit group of boys. If you're always around the same people, living with the same people.
So it's 1:20 on a Wednesday. I'm just heading to lunch. We're turning up a bit late, so there probably won't be a queue.
A queue.
Like many of the school's facilities,
Huh.
the dining hall is also in a new building outside the historic school grounds.
Wow.
Max Wyndham likes the buffet variety, which is not limited to British cuisine.
Huh. Nice.
After lunch, he must rush back to the dorms to change for military training.
Oh, it is military training. Wow. Man, is this... I feel like anytime I've ever heard the word boarding school, it's in regards to punishment. Like if you're if you're bad, if you're like a teenager who's like committing crimes or something, like you'd be sent to boarding school. I'm starting to remember a bit more. That's the only other context I've ever heard of boarding school in America, for sure. Yes, it's if like a youth is being unruly and misbehaving, their parents might send them to boarding school. I, of course, was a perfect child. So I would never, I've never heard of this such a thing. Yeah, I think now that I think about it, that's the only context I know of with boarding school. But this paints it in a totally different picture. Just, respectful young men attending classes. There's a military aspect to it, which is interesting to me. Why is that? Is that just to teach discipline, or is that traditionally a part of boarding school?
For CCF, you just get changed at lunch break, so sort of now, and you wear that until sort of 5 o'clock, 5, 6-ish. And that's sort of it. But school uniform you have to wear throughout the whole day when you're going to lessons and things.
Wow, and of course, in true British fashion, you do have those school uniforms. Is that what the suit and tie is? That's just the uniform? Wow. This is so incredibly different from, like, American public school, just normal school.
There is no time to change before geography class,
Oh, wow.
followed by mathematics.
Wow.
So, Max Wyndham, like many other students, goes back to class in military uniform.
Wow.
Max Wyndham's schedule is packed.
Well, packed schedule. This certainly seems much more intensive than just a normal, everyday school experience. Like, with the packed schedule, you gotta be at certain places at certain times, like, get dressed on time, do this military aspect. This is intense, but it doesn't come across as a punishment. The boys seem perfectly happy, perfectly content. It's more of just like a very structured form of schooling. I'm just trying to figure out why some British students attend boarding school and some attend what we'll call normal school. Why one or the other? I'm not sure.
I don't like to have too much time to myself because I quite like to, take the most of the opportunities and things that I get offered, especially CCF, which I think is an amazing organisation, sort of group that you get to be part of, and things like Geography Society is also very good. So I think I can make the most of my time.
In your CCF uniform, looking as smart as possible.
Military training is part of the school's voluntary after-school program.
Oh.
Students from the neighboring Sherborne Girls' School also participate.
Oh. There's a girls' boarding school nearby. So it's either all boys or all girls. They don't mix that.
Today, they are honoring Remembrance Day for the fallen soldiers of 2 world wars. This takes place every year on November 11th. The red poppy is worn on the left lapel as a sign of remembrance.
Wow. How old are these kids? I think they said like grade 11. Is that like 17-ish years old? Pretty young. Pretty disciplined. Pretty impressive stuff.
If you succeed in getting the Army Scholarship, you then become eligible to do officer training at Sandhurst, which will then mean that you can join a regiment in the Army as an officer, and I'd like to join the Irish Guards as my dad. He was ex-Irish, he's an ex-Irish Guardsman, and so.
Oh, wow. So maybe this has to do with like if your parents attended boarding school you attend boarding school? Is that oftentimes maybe a determination?
The training lasts almost 2 hours.
Wow.
Immediately afterwards, it's time for dinner.
Supper's quite early. It's sort of 5:30 today and 6 normally. And so
Okay.
if you get hungry, there's always something to eat when you're back at house. It could be
Is that early? Is that early for dinner? I think 6 o'clock is kind of right on the mark. When do most British people eat dinner? I think 6 is pretty normal.
fruit toast or something, and you
After dinner, he has a few minutes to change clothes for the school's choir rehearsal
what?
at the historic
Choir! Oh my, I go to history and philosophy and math and then military training, then choir. It's like you just know that these are going to be the most upstanding youths. The future of Britain is in good hands. Like, you can tell that this whole boarding school thing, you know, it is strict. Call it what you want. It is highly effective. Like, it from what we can tell in this video anyway. It's highly effective at crafting and molding really upstanding young people, it looks like.
Sherborne Abbey. Max Wyndham is an active member of the congregation, and on Tuesdays he rings the bells of the 1,000-year-old church.
Oh, wow.
At 7 p.m., Max Wyndham returns to the boarding house to do his homework.
Okay.
the lights out time for our year at the moment is 10:30. There's a hand and phone collection, so you have to hand in your phone, and for some people you have to hand in your computers and iPads as well.
There's a bedtime. There's a lights out time. You have to give in your phone. This is like I bet a lot of people out there, especially Americans, like I can't help but think how I really would not have liked this, I think. But if it's kind of what you're used to, or if you give it a chance, or I think there are really, really redeeming aspects to a school, a boarding school, I guess, regiment like this. But it is definitely strict.
If you're caught on them late at night, just to stop you from staying up and getting enough sleep.
The day at Sherborne School comes to an end. The school years at a British boarding school are formative, and the contacts made here often last a lifetime.
Okay. Wow. That's really cool. That's really interesting. And maybe you get some connections when you attend boarding school. It seems like maybe with families and other people who are into this whole thing. That was really cool. Again, this video is by DW Euromax. I gotta give it a like. I really liked that. That was a fascinating look into boarding school. Never really knew what it was all about. Now I totally get it now. You sign up, you go there, you live there, usually separated by sexes, and you have a super strict daily regiment. You might do after-school activities like military or choir. Everyone seems really, like, disciplined. I don't know. I don't really have a negative thing to say about it, except it is quite strict. And, you know, maybe that's not for everyone, but it sounds like this is more prevalent in Britain. And I think this is a really cool part of British culture I didn't really understand. So I quite enjoyed this. Anyway, if you enjoyed this too, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on boarding school in Britain. Is this common? Have any of you out there attended boarding school? That'd be amazing to hear about, actually. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Britain and learning about British culture, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.